Hello and welcome to this new video tutorial. Today we are going to take a look at the assembly of a distribution ramp. I remind you that we are in step 5 of the water supply cycle corresponding to distribution. The distribution ramps are pre-assembled, allowing for quick installation at water distribution points in an emergency situation. They are sturdy for continuous use. There are various models of distribution ramps, but most have 6 automatic shut-off taps to reduce water wastage. With a maximum of 250 people per tap, a distribution ramp can provide water for up to 1,500 people in acute emergency. Even with automatic shut-off valves, wastage is inevitable. Proper drainage is therefore essential for the beginning of the installation. The kit is composed of the following elements: 2 ramps equipped with 6 3/4-inch taps DN20, 8 1-meter metal tubes, 2 T-assemblies equipped with Gilliman couplings, 2 plugs of 2-inch DN50 mounted with Gilliman couplings and chains, a pipe wrench, 4 3/4 cast steel plugs with male threads, 2 spare 3/4 self-closing valves, spare galvanized hex head bolts. The kit costs €761, weighs 44 kilograms for the volume of 0.15 cubic meters. The first step is to choose the right site to install the distribution ramp. 2 important things to remember. Make sure that the chosen site allows good drainage of rainwater and wastewater generated by the use of the distribution point. Avoid low spots where water could accumulate, such as sites in a bowl. Accessibility is also very important. The site should be not too far from the users. It is recommended to respect a maximum distance of 100 meters in the case of a health structure, and 250 meters in case of a camp, as you have seen in the essential requirements in the theoretical modules. Don't forget to choose a site that allows tanker trucks to maneuver without difficulty to supply the adjacent storage tanks. Today we have chosen the position of our ramp at this location because it is clear in terms of accessibility, and it has been set up for the evacuation of wastewater, which we will come back to in a moment. You must then ensure that the water discharge from the water point does not stagnate and become a source of contamination or breeding site. Depending on the degree of urgency, you can build a slab with protective borders under the distribution ramp and build a drain via a soak-away pit as shown in these pictures. We will not discuss the constructional aspects today, but you can refer to the following datasheets in Public Health and Engineering. Today we will focus on a quick installation in an acute emergency situation. As we have seen before, our ramp will be positioned above this gravel bed of about 1 meter thickness, which will avoid turning the distribution site into a mud field. Imagine that hundreds of people will come to use your distribution ramp. You should therefore avoid this kind of situation that we have encountered in a camp for displaced people. The third step in the installation of the distribution ramp is to assemble the different parts. To do this, I recommend that you take the various parts out of the transport box and lay them out on the ground. Start by putting Teflon on the male thread for the T-assembly to optimize the sealing. Then screw the T-assembly to the distribution ramp itself. Then insert the tubes that serve as feet into the corresponding slots. You will then need to adjust the height of the feet. Make sure that the distance between the spouts of the taps and the floor is slightly greater than the height of the highest container used by the beneficiaries. A clearance of 50 centimeters is usually sufficient. This limited distance will reduce the amount of water falling next to the container, especially in windy areas.
C'est bon.
All that remains is to tighten the screws firmly. The next step is to connect your ramp to the tank with a hose. You will use the T-coupling provided for this purpose. Connect your hose and make sure there are no leaks by tightening it firmly with the spanner wrenches. If the distribution ramp is connected to the tank by a non-compressible hose, as it is the case here with this Halifax spiral hose, it is strongly recommended that it be buried, even in an acute emergency. See technical sheet 2.33 for more details on how to install the hose. Before opening the valve on the tank that will supply your distribution ramp, make sure you have installed the cap equipped with the Gilliman couplings by tightening it firmly. The next step is to check the pressure and flow of the taps by creating the right height distance between the distribution ramp and the tank. Make sure to position it at least 1.2 meters above the distribution ramp, as we can see in this diagram and this picture. You are now ready to supply your water point. To measure the flow rate, you just have to push the tap. Take the opportunity to check the integrity of the taps and if they close properly to avoid water loss. The minimum flow rate should not fall below 10 litres per minute. To measure it, take a graduated container, set a timer on 1 minute and measure the volume at the end. Be careful because too much pressure can make it difficult to open automatic shut-off taps, especially for children, and cause a damaging water hammer effect. Also, too low a pressure can result in less than desired flow and increased leakage from some automatic shut-off valves. An alternative is to provide artificial pressure and flow through a hand pump or motor pump.
Voilà, vous savez tout ou presque sur le
You
montage
now
d'une rampe
know
de
almost
distribution.
everything about setting
N'oubliez
up
pas
a
que dans la
distribution
réalité, la
ramp.
gestion d'un point d'eau
Don't
peut
forget
être
that
très
in the real
délicate
world,
en situation
managing a
d'urgence aiguë.
water point can be tricky,
Pensez à la façon dont
especially
vous
in an acute emergency situation. You will need to think about how you will manage the stress at peak times. I strongly recommend you involve the community. Set up waiting circuits with boundary nets and higher crowd controllers. You can find the entire procedure in Public Health Engineering on Technical Sheet 2.39. Thank you for your attention and see you soon for new videos.